Hi there, welcome YouTube. So, I want to make a video on Path of Exile 2 because I've seen a lot of warrior builds, and not to say that they're not good. I don't like them. I think the one I have is more effective. So I wanted to put out a video for it. So essentially, what I'm running is a warrior titan, and it's a stampede / herald of ice build. So you stomp around anything that can be frozen, freezes. There's certain gear pieces you need. It is a little bit of a grind to get said pieces, but once you have it, it makes the end game so much easier. So let's jump in. I'll show you the build. I'll show you all the passives, all the skills, and everything I use. I've changed up a little bit, and the build is actually on maxroll.gg. I found a lot of better builds than there's another site out there as well. So let's take a look at that. This is my level 92 Titan. Okay. So I'll explain a little bit about the build. I'll show you my gear and everything. I'll show you the needs, I guess you could say, of the build. So it's not quite perfected yet. I still need a little bit of block chance and definitely a little bit more armor. So my stats as of you're looking at 585 strength, 117 dexterity, and 111 intelligence. The reason I have dexterity and intelligence is because of Herald of Ice. Okay, all of your meta builds are going to use Herald of Ice or Herald of Storms, one of those two. If you ever see anybody clear the entire map, like the monk builds, this is what they're using. So 4,800 life. My block is actually at 75%. Never mind. So that's good. I have 75 resistances on all of the elements except for chaos. That one's kind of hard to get. And then I have 69% armor, Gady. So my armor is at 8290. Like I said, I'm working on getting that up. I have a few more passives I can throw into getting that. I do have evasion, but I have passives that convert my evasion into armor, and then I do have an energy shield because of my chest piece. So let's take a breakdown of the skills I have. Now, the other thing that I do want to mention is with this build, this is more of clearing the map. The bosses aren't that difficult if you can set it up right. Now, when you have a two-handed build, two-hand sword or maces, you can wipe bosses really quickly. I just haven't found the right weapons that I want to use for that. That pretty much, quadruples your DPS. So we have Mace Strike, which is your basic attack. I use it all the time, especially just trying to whittle away at the stun bar on bosses or rare monsters. So we're sitting at 16,360 DPS. Now, this actually will, I don't want to say quadruple, but almost double, or I guess should be around 20,000 once you have your rage stacked up to 30. So on my Mace Strike, we have Ruthless. Every 5th use of supported attacks causes 500 more stun buildup. We have Overpower. I'm not going to go through all of these, just the basics of them if you want to try the build out. We have Life Thief. We have Unbreakable, and that's it for Mace Strike. On Earth Shatter, this is your main source of stun. So we've got Upheaval, we have Heft, we have Splinter, we have Font of Rage, and we have Brutality. And then Hammer of the Gods, this is like your finisher move. Generally speaking, if you can get enough Earth Shatter, well, I'll explain how to take down bosses off this. And like I said, everything that I use, except for a few little modifications, I'll throw a link in the description. The author is Karn. He did a fantastic job on this build, by the way. Just the little details and like what to get for gear, your Atlas passives, your ascendancy, your passives, your skills. There are videos of it as well. Like I said, this video is for people that were warriors, and like I watched a stampede build, and it was very slow, and there was no just decimating the entire screen. So I felt a due diligence. Not to say that I'm anybody to make videos, but because my channel's not really ran like that. I'm just starting out on YouTube. So, Hammer of the Gods, 78,000 DPS. We have, and all these are 20%, by the way. Get your prisms in. So we have Rage Forged. We have Heavy Swing. We have Fist of War. We have Exploit Weakness. And we have Lacerate. Another big factor in this build is bleeding. I'm not quite to the bleeding tree, but once I get into bleeding chance and bleeding duration, this will melt bosses. Once you throw a hammer down, it'll take half their health and you'll just see that bar just wipe away. Okay, so what it looks like in the background. Nah, I'll leave the background out. So we have Seismic Cry. This is one of your war cries you're going to use all the time, especially with Earth Shatter to make it pop. But we have Dazing Cry, and we have Inspiration. Infernal Cry. I used to use this a lot when I was leveling, but now more so I use this in conjunction with Seismic Cry when I do a hammer. So we have Premeditation. We have Enraged War Cry. We have Raging Cry. And we have Life Tap. Leap Slam, this is only used for navigation purposes, more or less, like after the map is cleared and or there's, you know, a top layer of a level, like some of the canyon, you just can jump on top. Or if you find yourself in a pinch and you're surrounded by enemies, jump out of there. But on Leap Slam, we have Holy Descent and we have Rage. Which I could probably move that off to somewhere else. We'll see. Stampede. Here is your main source of DPS. I should say DPS, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. And you'll see. So we have Aftershock. We have Cold Infusion. We have Momentum. And we have Martial Tempo and Close Combat. Okay, Berserk. You will need, you know, this is an in-game build, so you'll have to have all your spirit. So with Berserk, we have Clarity, we have Cannibalism, and we have Herbalism. And then this is your main guy right here. This right here, Herald of Ice. And this is why you have to have Dexterity and Intelligence, because at level 19, you need 104 and 104 of both to even, I mean, I think I got it when I was around 89. So as long as you can get like even a level 17, even if it's low level, you can still work with it. It's just the higher the level, the more effective it's going to be. So with Herald of Ice, you have Cold Mastery, you have Magnified Effect, you have Primal Armament, you have Cold Penetration, and we have Long Shot. So the way the build works is you stampede in. Now you can use it a little bit differently, but if you stampede in, pretty much you're causing fissures, and any one of those fissures that touches an enemy, 9 times out of 10, 99% of the time will freeze them, and the other fissures that pop off of stampede explode them. So literally you'll just see everyone shatter into ice. All right, so we went over the base stats. We went over the attacks and whatnot, your skills. I will show you my armor. Now, it took me a while to get these armor pieces. Okay, these are like, some of these were, you know, 18 divines, specifically for the Ingenuity utility belt that has 75 increased. These are hard to come by unless you want to farm them. There are sites where you can buy divines and any kind of orbs you want, yada, yada, yada. Do whatever you think is best. I don't judge anybody. If you want to spend real money on a game, go for it. So, our weapon of choice is a two-handed weapon. And I specifically picked this one because I do have Giant's Blood. So I can wield a two-handed and a shield, or two two-handeds. And like I said, I'm working towards getting 2 really good two-handed weapons, so that my DPS goes through the roof when you're fighting bosses. So right here, the main thing you want to focus on your weapons, your physical damage. Physical damage is probably one of the most things. Anything that adds to physical damage. You also have attack speed. Attack speed is a must. There's also a couple other things, skill speed, and then your movement speed, but that's on another piece of gear. Anything you can get with levels of your melee skills and your runes. I like the physical damage runes. I was hoping to get a second slot on this, but that didn't happen. So, and on this we have accuracy rating, which I didn't really want, but there it is. So, and then your 20% reduced attribute requirements. That makes it so much easier that you don't have to grind for all the strength in the world. But there are ways to get a ton of strength out of this. And then this also refills my mana, so I can just constantly stampede through the entire map. Our shield. This is one of the build recommends this shield, the Surrender Stone Tower Shield. This one is a unique, so you're not going to get too many choices on what you want on it. The main thing is to get as much block chance as you can get. I don't like my camera. The Surrender. I think 60 is the most that I've seen on this shield. Why are you not letting me view said shield? There we go. So I think, oh, actually, no, you can, nope, 60 is the most that I've seen. So 60% block chance. The more block you have, the way that I've learned that it works is you don't have to be blocking for it to block. When you do block, I think it blocks like almost every single piece until you get stunned. But the higher your block chance is, the less you're going to get hit. And you'll hear it. You'll hear the tink, 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 tink. That's all the block hits coming through. My block is at 75%. I do take damage occasionally. Chaos damage is the worst. So you just got to be quick with your life button. Stun threshold, I believe, is a given on this, and then 4% when you block. So if you ever do get in a bind, if you hold out your shield, every hit that they do, you're getting 4% life back. I very rarely block. Rolling out of the way is more effective for me. And then armor. Armor is important. This one doesn't give as much, but the reason I have lightning resistance tagged into that is because I needed a little bit more lightning resistance to hit my 75 cap. Now, there are passives where you can get 76%. I just haven't gotten them. There's two different passive paths you can take. One with sword and shield and one with two maces. Mace and shield and two maces. There is a separate passive tree that you can take when you have two maces equipped, which I haven't transferred over because I don't have two maces. So, our helmet, the Thrill Still is what the guide recommends. Let's see here. This is going to give you Onslaught, and Onslaught will give you faster movement speed and faster casting speed, and it makes a tremendous, I believe it's 20% and 10%. 20% on your skill cast, and then 10% on your movement speed, and it makes a world of difference. The faster you can go, the more you can clear, the faster you can get into the next map. And I'm level 92, by the way. It is a grind. Goodness gracious. So if you can't get a Thrill Still helmet, a good one at least, so mine came with 19% reduced attribute requirements, so that's a plus, and then 20% with the rune. If you can't, try to get maximum life or strength, and then get your resistances up. The resistances and your block chance are the number one priority with as much life as you can get. So our body armor, this is one of this is a really expensive piece. This is the Mirror Invictus Grand Regalia. This is where I had to start putting in points for my dexterity and intelligence. So this actually gives you armor, evasion, and an energy shield. I actually have an energy shield as a warrior, and it is nice because I don't have to worry about lightning or fire on the fire ground or lightning ground or frost ground or any of that stuff doing damage to me. You can just stand on top of them. So it gives you 333% to your armor, evasion, and energy shield. Plus you're getting 5% increased attributes per socketed rune or soul core. And then you're also getting 6% maximum life per socketed rune. I had to pay quite a few divines for the 6% maximum life because I did have one that was only 5. Luckily I kept that armor. I'll probably end up trading it or trying to get it back into the trades. And then we have 4 of the iron runes equipped. I would love to do some of the soul cores of Takachi. The one was, with maximum life, but I kind of fixed that with a time loss diamond. So with our amulet, I have Lay Siege socketed onto that, or not socketed, but the delirium socket on that, and Lay Siege converts my block chance into melee damage. So again, the higher your block chance, the more melee damage you do. And you don't even have to do that much damage. You'll see. So 19% in armor, 15 to strength. I want all the strength I can get, plus another 32 strength. And then I did, I believe I did armor to this one, or fire resistance. I can't remember what defense modifier. So I put defense in this, increased armor. We got mana, we got strength, and then we have fire and lightning resistance. We have a breach ring. The breach ring, I did do life essence into that. Or life, what are those pieces called? So it's maxed out at 50%. So we have 136 maximum life, 7 to 10 physical damage from attacks. Not bad. I could have done damage into it instead of life, but it is what it is. We got 83 mana, 32 to my strength, and then more resistances, 24 and 22. It's a really good breach ring. Moving over to the other ring, this is absolutely necessary for this build to work. It's a pulse circling sapphire ring. I'm not going to be able to say that properly. So the very last effect from this unique ring is how this build works. Enemies chilled by your hits can be shattered as though frozen. And this is where it pins off of each enemy. It pings, 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 and just decimates the entire map. Instead of having to stampede and then stun them and then stampede again to finish them off, I don't have to worry about any of that. We've got strength. We've got cold damage. Anything with cold damage, so I could actually put a whatever the frost rune is to get cold damage to this, and it would work out pretty nice. But I already have 139 increased physical, so I kept it with physical. The physical will be converted anyway. So this is absolutely necessary for the build. Then we got our gloves. I think if I had to point out a weakness in the armor, I almost want to say it's going to be the gloves. I could probably do better, but the lightning resistance I couldn't beat. So gloves, you want to focus on maximum life, strength, increased attack speed, which I do not have, and your resistances. So the armor is 338, not that bad. Everything is max quality. You got life, I've got mana, I do have attack speed. Whoops, 12%. 31 to strength, and then our 34 lightning resistance. Our boots, your boots, you definitely want to have movement speed. So I found these at 30% movement speed. 113 to maximum life, 164 maximum mana. Mana is kind of important, but we do get all that back when we're running through everything. Plus our life refills as well. Another 32 strength, which is phenomenal, and then more fire and cold resistance. And then our belt. This cost me a pretty penny. We get 20% of flash recovery applied instantly, which I'm not worried about. 75 increased bonus gain from equipped rings. These rings right now with 75% are going for like 15 to 20 divines. And what this does is that everything on my rings are now increased by 75%. So I get an extra 11. No, that would be almost 200 maximum life, 150 mana, with 75% of 30, like eight, somewhere around 22, 23. Math's not good right now. Just got off work. So this thing comes in handy. You'll see a lot of these for like 30% increase bonuses. They're not worth it. Save up for the 75. The 75 makes it so much better. And then we have, I have a poison charm, and then just your life flask, of the surgeon. So anytime I kill someone, I have a 31% chance to get refills back. And so that's the armor. And like I said, once I get a decent, two-handed weapons, I've been searching for, as far as weapons, the expert leaden great hammer, the expert oak great hammer, and the expert temporal maul are what you want to look for. As far as the shield, if you can't get a surrender, the expert stone tower shield is one of the go for. You got your expert steel plate and expert iron cuirass if you can't get the Invictus. Your helmet, which I did have before, and I found the onslaught just works so much better. An expert elite great helm, expert molded mitts, nothing fancy there. Expert stone greaves, nothing fancy there. Your rings, like I said, try to get a decent breach ring. You can really bump up the quality. I'm pretty sure this went up like 1 to 2 points of maximum life per quality increase, per percentage. And then the Pulsarkin Keln Sapphire ring is 100% necessary for this build to work. Again, your amulet, you've got the Lay Siege that's allocated, the belt, Ingenuity. I know you can't, a lot of people can't get those, but focus on maximum life, strength, and then your resistances. And then, armor if you can get it as well. I had way more armor on the belt, but I like this belt better. So now we'll go to the passives. So our passives, so I'm a Titan. Our passives are going to be, I just got my 8th ascendancy, 7 and 8th ascendancy points, so it's kind of nice now that I have, because I didn't have Earthbreaker. I went for maximum life first, but you want to do Slam of Area effect and Earthbreaker. And then you've got your, 4% increased strength, which is really nice. Not a whole lot, but it adds up. And then the carry chest, quality of life. It's amazing to have that little chest. I put all of my my waystones in there. Another 4% increased strength, and then hulking form. Hulking form is the best ascendancy passive you can take. 50% increase effect of all passive skills, small passive skills. Then we've got our life regen and 15% more maximum life. So we look at our tree here. I'll pause for a moment if you want to do any screenshots or whatnot. And then I'll move down here a little bit. And like I said, I've still got 8 more passives. I'm probably going to build into, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down to the bleeding duration. I don't know yet. Or I could even bump into the 18%, increased armor and evasion rating to get my armor even more. Now that I have evasion, that actually gets doubled because I get evasion from Invictus. So, and then this is our allocation. 1% increased damage per 1% block chance. So I have an extra 75% damage. So if we go into the smaller passives, melee damage, melee damage, melee damage. Then we've got our stun build up, plus 10 to strength. This guy is absolutely necessary. Sturdy metal, 80% increased armor from equipped body armor. More armor, more strength. 7% block chance, block chance, block chance. Break 25% armor. The leveling build that I used to get to this point had a lot to do with breaking armor and then popping both of your cries and throwing down a hammer, which works very well. But the end game is just, you can't work your way through all the enemies. it was a game changer when I did the Herald build. More melee damage, strength. And this is where I had to pick apart and change some of my passives in order to get my dexterity and my intelligence up to what I needed to put on Evictus and to get Herald. Then we, go down to the boat anchor here. We've got shockwaves. We've got singular purpose, war cry speed. This one's actually supposed to be allocated, but I took that away to get more block, and I haven't really noticed a big difference. So the aftershock is kind of like the middle of the build. So you have your stampede, and then you have your aftershocks, and then you have your herald. So beef is a great one. 25 strength, 12 strength, all the strength, and then your block. So 6 life gain when you block, so you get even more when you block. It's like 10, and then 12% increased block chance. 37% increased defenses from equipped shield. Didn't really want to do that because you don't get a whole lot of defense from the shield. Then we move on to unbending. We've got stun threshold and strength, more stun. Resolute technique. This helps out with anyone who has evade. They cannot be evaded, but you never deal critical hits. I would rather always be able to hit someone and like break them apart than to have to keep running back and forth because my hits keep missing. So, and then when you swap over to the 2-hand, when you're just fighting a main boss, you can pop this one off. So just learned that you have skills up here, and you can swap and have a totally different tree for a 2-handed weapon set. More strength. Our gems are our jewels. Our jewels, what you are looking for in your jewels are going to be block chance and gain rage on melee hits. I don't know what the maximum is. The max that I can get on rage is 30. And the more rage you can get and the longer you can sustain rage, the more damage you'll get. So when I start out, just start running into the map, it's a little slow. Once my rage gets up to 30, I'm popping everything. So we got increased armor. I have 5% block chance. For some odd reason, I added a 7% and took away a 5%, and it didn't give me any more. Don't know what's going on with that. And then bleeding duration is another good one to have, because the longer they bleed, the more damage they take. More strength, and then we have, our mace damage. Everything with mace damage. We have brute strength, more mana, 1% increased damage per 15 strength. I have 585 strength, so that's a lot of percentages. Let's see, that's 10% out of 150. And so 10, 20, 30, 40, 50% increased damage almost. Some intelligence, right here, Giant's Blood. You can wield 2-handed axes. The only problem with this is you can't just start equipping one of the really nice axes that do 1,000 damage, because they're capped at like 212 strength. So you either got to have the requirements reduced, or you got to have 636 strength to equip them. Moving along, we have some more intelligence, another gem. 7% block chance. This is one that I put on. I had a 5 and I put on a 7 and it stayed the same. So it was weird with it. More chances to put bleeding on, more rage, and more stun build up. That's the best one I could find. It had stun build up. I didn't really want that, but it is what it is. More intelligence, more dexterity. Now, this is where I've changed it up a bit. I actually took this guy and this guy because of my armor. So I had evasion. And then now my iron reflexes converts my evasion into armor. And so when I increase my armor and evasion rating, so I get 18% armor, 18% more evasion, my evasion converts into armor. So it's not like a 36 deal, but I'm getting double the amount of armor for it. And then I popped another one. So it's just one of the ways I'm trying to get about 10,000 armor. That should put me around the threshold of 75%. And then this magical star right here is how you get your attributes up. So all this star is attributes. So you got 4 to all attributes, 4 to all attributes, 4 to all attributes, 4, and then this is a percentage of 10. So paying off this every single one of them. This will help you get everything you need for Herald and everything you need for your Invictus. You should have what you need for Invictus by the time you get here. And then 2% increased damage per 5 of your lowest attribute. So my lowest attribute is 111 for my intelligence. So I'm getting 40% more damage per 5, because 5 goes into, 120 times. So 20 times 2, I'm actually getting more like 44, but that's a good one to have, as long as you can keep your intelligence and your dexterity, like even if 150, but try to keep it as close as you can. And then this jewel right here, if you can get a time loss diamond, try to get it with maximum life. So, and a large radius, because this is where everything's going to come together. All of your main small passives. So small passives and radius grant 1% increase maximum life, and your small passive skills in the radius also grant 4% to fire resistance. So my fire resistance was lacking a little bit. And so what I did was I found this gem, I popped it in. Every single one of these guys gives me 6% increase to fire resistance. Even though it says 4. Not sure where the 2% is coming from, to be honest with you. But each one 6%. And you lose percentage each act you go through. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you get a negative effect each time you complete an act. And when you go to Cruel, you're down 10%. When you go to Act 2, you're down 20%. So you have to really build that back up. But what this allowed me to do was I could get new gear that didn't have fire resistance, and I could add in cold or lightning resistance or chaos or whatever the case, so I could kind of swap it out because this took care of all the resistances I need. Now, another thing to look out for is this guy right here. When you have your resistances up, you can pop these guys to get 1 more percent. So 76, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but with bosses, it is. And then 2% to maximum fire resistance for each 40% uncapped fire resistance. So if you have 110 fire resistance or 115, you now have 76, 77, 78% max fire resistance. So 78% of that damage gone. And then your defenses kick in, your armor. So this is for bleeding. And then, like I said, I'm trying to work into this tree for more bleeding duration and chance to bleed. So I can make them bleed, then I can just, sit back and block, or, keep throwing Earth Shatter on them. So more bleed, more bleed, more bleed, magnitude of bleed. And then this is the last I'll be getting. Bleeding you inflict deals 10% fast damage, 10% faster. So it's going to be a faster rate of damage being coming off. And then 250% accurate against bleeding enemies. So if you can make them bleed, you're always going to hit them. And then over here, we've got attack speed. So once you pop the hammer, or if they're like so close to getting stunned, you can sit there and wail on them, roll, wail on them, roll, get them close, throw an Earth Shatter down, and then pop your Seismic and your Infernal Cry. So more attack speed, and then 15% chance to blind enemies on hits with attacks. I didn't really care for that, but what I wanted was the 10% increased attack speed. I could probably take that one off and throw it in this guy, because that's going to give me more stacked damage, plus it's going to give me more life and more fire resistance. So I may end up doing that. But the end game, the goal is to pop up to here, to here, to here, all strength, unless I need to swap those around for the last level 20 of Herald. And then, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8 after swapping that out. So that'll be the tree. So I've got 4 gems. We've got one here, a time slot, time lost. We've got another one here. We've got another one there, and then one up here. Again, block chance, rage, inflict bleeding, and I get more life leech. So that's the build. Now, if we go into a map, now this map does this build does level 15s just fine. I actually made my way to my first iron. Is it iron? Yeah, Iron Citadel. So 16s I had a little bit of trouble on, but that's because I pointed my Atlas, the boss points, and raised it all the way up. I went through the boss and then the boss again, another boss, another boss, and I maxed out the level of them. Besides doing the pinnacle, I was missing 2 points, and I just found that they were kind of a little bit too difficult. So I dumbed them back down just to 1 level above, and I haven't had any issues. So if we'll just do a blank map right here. The biggest things to look out for on the waystones is you don't want to find any 50% elemental resistances. Those suck. You can still it's still doable, but you'll notice a huge difference in how much you can actually pop enemies. The other thing is there is maximum life. I think it's like 70% maximum life. Yeah, let's see. Yep, 70% maximum life. And then avoid your bad damage mods, such as monsters damage penetrates 25% elemental resistances. So if you have your resistances up to 75, you don't want to lose 25% of those. I've been playing where I've ran through everything in a boss, and those freaking chaos trees pop up, and I have like 3 little balls that just pop on me. Dead. Chaos damage is the worst. So all right, well, let's throw in let's see here. Monsters gain 25%, 10 additional. Not worried about that. Let's throw in here and let's show you what the build does. All right, so like I said, it's going to be hard to talk and play the game because of how chaotic it is, but this is a good map to start out with. And all you're going to do is just stampede through everybody. I'll show you the the button configuration I have on my mouse and keyboard. But I mean, it's as simple as this. There's an enemy here. He didn't pop. Roll out of the way. Seismic. Gone. Just everything, anything that can freeze. If it can freeze, it can shatter. And it's just beautifully crafted, like I said, again, by Karn. I just have a little bit of a tweak to it. Now, another thing is with the Ascendancy passive, you have the extra fissures or whatever they're calling them. So like they're evaded. They just got popped. You can't evade the attacks. Another cool thing about it is even if you can freeze them, so there'll be chances like I'll try to show you here in a moment. I'll run into them, they'll freeze, but they won't pop. The next time I click to start a stampede, he'll actually throw out another fissure. Or aftershock, that's what it is. And I don't have to worry about my health unless I'm, fighting an enemy. Now, mana drain sucks, but, you can easily get it by that guy's dead. Don't even have to worry about him. Those little guys will screw you over. So, don't have to worry about this area. But every time that I am stampeding and running through, enemies, I'm getting back mana, I'm getting back health. So if you can keep moving, you don't have to worry about anything. Now, he died before I could do anything. So, say you have a boss or a rare monster that you can't really take down. What you're going to do is you're going to throw down some of the Earth Shatter, 3 or 4 of them. You can pop it with Seismic. That should be able to stun him. And if you can stun him like that, you're going to pop Seismic, you're going to pop Infernal, and then you're going to throw down your hammer. And that should pretty much one-shot him. If you can't get his stun up quite yet, keep hitting them with Earth Shatter. Roll around, Earth Shatter, roll around, Earth Shatter. Keep popping them with Seismic. Now, the way the build is supposed to work, according to the author, is you want to pop a Seismic, you want to do your run, you want to pop Infernal, do your run. Pop Seismic, do your run, pop Infernal, and do your run. I've just noticed I don't have to do that. I can literally just stampede through the entire map. Actually grabbed a Divine Orb the last map I went through, which was kind of nice. So we'll run down here, we'll knock out these bosses, and, you know, I'm clearing a map in, 15 minutes if I don't have to sit here, explain on the, in a video. So just take that with a grain of salt. So let's say this guy. Roll. His shield's down. I hate that it's on F because I constantly keep pressing G when I'm trying to hit F. So we'll grab that quarterstaff. I don't want any of that. I don't pick up anything less than a Waystone 12. It's not worth my time anymore to sit there and keep crafting them. So you notice that my rage is a little down. It's at 19. That's why they weren't popping as much. But if you just constantly keep moving, keep rolling through them, it is a fun build. And like I said, even your melee attack does a lot of damage. That is one thing on the build that they don't have anything built in just to your regular melee. But I do. Emerald ring, a topaz ring. I carried over the melee skill slots from the leveling build that I was running. And if you want a link to that, that's actually on that site as well. Oh, wrong one. There we go. He's stunned. He's got a mana field. Get past these guys. Grab that chaos. There we go. And we'll head up to the last boss. Take that Regal Shard. Now, I do stream on Twitch, usually every weekend or so. I've been streaming a couple of these games, like if people, tips and tricks, people want help. They're, having troubles clearing a boss, like, I'll take time out and just swing in, help them take them out, be done with it. There you go. See, before I even started the stampede, they've already popped. Plus, you get aftershocks after you've already started moving. So we'll just beat this guy up a little bit, pop those, he's dead. Sometimes you don't even have to throw down a hammer. See? And my shield has yet to get dropped. That's the beauty of that Invictus armor, is you have a little bit of a, buffer with your armor as well. Finish that guy off. Context. Move down through here, bust these guys. Now, sometimes you will run into enemies that just won't let you run through them. I don't know what that's about, but it is what it is. And if you wanted to, you could just keep stampeding on this guy, but I'm not going to. There we go. Map's complete. Done. Barely took any damage.
Fortune favors me.
And if you're wondering why my items look different than yours, I'm running a filter. I don't recall. Actually, I can look up right now. It's one of the best ones out there. The creator is very well known. Never Sink. So I'm running his strict, and I'll probably tune that up a little bit, actually, now that I pretty much have everything I need. But I'm still looking for, the two good weapons. So that is the build. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you. I would say subscribe, and all that, but I'm not really going to do a whole lot of PoE content unless, comment below if you want something as far as like a warrior build. I know there's Medieval Marty does fantastic videos. and his British accent, I love it. He has guides on Titans. He's got guides on monks. His monk build is insane. So if there's anything I missed, which I don't think there is, went over the passes. We went over the gear. We went over how to play. Oh yeah, map buttons. So my mapping. Your left click is, obviously your make strike. I have leap slam. Pretty soon when I get my other two-handed weapons, I'm going to change my scroll wheel to change weapons. So I'll be able to, switch over to that and then just start taking out a boss and then switch back. But right now it's leap slam. That kind of gets me out of sticky situations. Like I said, when you're completely surrounded, pop a leap slam, you'll jump over them. Right click is my stampede. That's all I use pretty much. You just stampede through it, keep right clicking, keep right clicking. Q is my raised shield. I rarely use that. The one time I do use it is after I've, hit them with a couple earth shatters and pop my hammer. I'll sit back like this and, roll around so I don't take any damage while my hammer's coming down. Earth shatter is on my E key. And then I have seismic on R, infernal on T, and then F. The way I wanted to play out is I could go E, 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 R, T, F. So just right in an order and then down to F. The F key, for some odd reason, I always hit it with G. So my freaking skills pop up. And then this isn't used. There's nothing on here. The monk builds has three freaking attacks. It's insane. But again, I've been tatted up. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope this helps anyone who is struggling with their warrior and their titan, because I certainly did. Through the campaign, through the end game, until I kind of switched over to this build. And I'll have a link for the original creator. And like I said, I made a few little tweaks to it. So I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you.